Today's video is sponsored by Jobber, but more on that later.
Hi, this is Brad with Baker County Trash Pickup. One of the most common requests for video that we've gotten since we got the trash pickup truck is, how do you clean the garbage truck? So today's video is going to show you the cleaning process for our 2024 Isuzu NRR, which is this guy right here in the chassis. And this is an 8-yard PacMac rear loader. So PacMac is who makes this. 8 yards refers to the cubic capacity, the storage of it, and rear load means that you load it from the rear. We just got done with our run, so not only will you hear an echo as I'm talking near this, but you can see flies buzzing around. See in there, maybe you can, maybe you can't. When we are at the landfill, I've got a broom and a rake that I'll use to kind of clean up some of this. After it's ejected, the ejector plate, I will brush off some portions of the tailgate, the floor. I'll use the broom and sweep those off. That's one thing that helps it be a lot cleaner relatively than if I just dumped at the landfill and just came straight home. Taking those extra couple minutes to sweep that stuff out makes a huge difference for cleanup. The other thing is that how long this takes to clean really depends on mainly the weather, because the landfill is not a very clean place. Lots of dirt, lots of mud if it's rainy, and that means a much dirtier truck. As you can see, not really a whole lot of rain, not really any water. Everything was really dry. We've got a lot of dust. If we've got just a lot of dust, then many times I will not wash the outside of the truck. I'll just rinse it with the pressure washer to knock the loose dirt off. The issue is I've been doing that for about the last month, and I'm gonna see if we can get a decent angle. I'm looking through the GoPro, so I don't know what you'll be able to see, but there's lots of grease and goop and just stuff that kind of needs to be agitated off of this windshield. So today we will, with a brush and some car soap, kind of just clean the whole cab area. But to start with the cleaning, my first step is always on the inside. If this is the first video you're watching, my wife and I run this business by ourselves. So she drives for me and I sit here and, well, not here, here, and pick up the trash. One of the ways that I try and keep the inside a little bit cleaner, these are a couple of floor mats from my work truck that I don't use because I've you know, put like WeatherTech style mats in. These guys catch probably 90% of the dirt, and let me just shake it out. And these will just get pressure washed. And if I'm washing this with a brush, those will get a brush and soap. You can see there's still a little bit of dirt here, but not too much. Sometimes I'll get the shop vac out if it's real bad. If not, I'll just use this little guy. And you can see that's good. It's not perfect, so you know, once every couple of weeks we'll have to take that mat out and pressure wash it too. That one's a real pain to get out, though. It like folds around the gas pedal, the accelerator pedal, and you got to kind of roll it up like a taco in order to get it out one way. So I do that as little as possible. And then for spraying down the plastic and stuff on the insides, you can see where all my boot scuffs are. I mean, I'm sure there's something better than this, but just whatever interior detailer I found in the garage works good for things like that plastic. So this doesn't really have to be perfect if you're doing it every week. I say week, I guess that depends on how much work you do in a week, but for us, we are still just running 1 day a week. We're up to 107 clients and I believe 125 cans. And that took us about 8 hours today. A couple of the folks that we added this past week, we added 10 clients and 11 cans this past week, and there were quite a few of those that were in new little subdivisions or new nooks and crannies of the county that they're close to where we were, but they weren't right where we were. And sometimes I'll add stops like that if it, you know, opens up the potential to get another 10 or 15 clients in that same area. But it also means that the very first time you visit those places, you're going to be, you know, the most inefficient you'll ever be, because you have the least customers there that you'll ever have. You know, you really don't need to get into these kind of things, but if I'm here with a wet rag and I see it, I might as well. Because again, if I do a little now, then it really won't ever have a chance to get too terrible. And I tell you, there's nothing quite like having a nice clean truck to work in, especially if the work that you're doing is something as gross as trash. If you're bringing that filth into your vehicle, I'm sure you'd get used to it, but it's just not a good feeling, I would assume. Sometimes I'll just open up the door jamb and hit that with the pressure washer. Hit this guy with the pressure washer, so I don't waste a ton of time on that. Every once in a while when I pressure wash the rug, or the floor mat, I guess I should say, I'll take that out because some finer dust does get stuck in this area. Clean that up. I'm not sure if you'll be able to see from the light, but got some boot scuffs all up on this thing from getting in and out 100 times. It just doesn't have to be perfect. I usually just spend about 10-15 minutes on the inside. I want you to keep in mind too, what you're seeing, I don't want you to think this is how trash trucks are normally treated. I'm a little bit weird about this garbage truck when it comes to cleaning it. What you're seeing is definitely not normal when it comes to how most companies are gonna maintain their equipment, but I've always been a little bit more fastidious when it comes to the equipment that I use than maybe folks in the general public, and then especially because it's a trash truck, and if you are not cleaning it, it is disgusting. Like the other company in our county that has a garbage truck. There's 3 trash companies. 2 of them have trash trucks. We're one of them. The other company uses a trailer behind a truck and they do everything manually. The other company with a garbage truck, and they've got a lot of land where they can park it in a corner where no one ever smells it. I don't really have that luxury. You know, we're on a smaller, I don't even think it's a full 1/3 of an acre city lot, which I'm certainly not complaining about, but because of that and because of how close I am to neighbors, I don't have an HOA. That's one thing a lot of people ask is, how do you get away with that with an HOA? How does the HOA let you have a garbage truck? We don't have an HOA. That's one of the great things about the neighborhood I live in, is there is no homeowners association. So as long as it's not breaking any city ordinances, and because I've also got that lawn care business, I've called, you know, City Hall in the past and said, hey, is keeping a commercial vehicle on a residential property, is that an issue? And they said no. So I'm sure that would be the same for this, unless it were some type of a health nuisance. And because of what I'm doing all here today and showing you, it never will be. But going back to the subject of the other company that just never washes it, I don't like the way that looks as far as your company appearance, which I'm sitting here saying that I don't think anybody really expects a garbage truck to be clean. Like, it's a garbage truck. So if somebody has a dirty garbage truck, I don't think they say, oh, I don't want that dirty garbage truck picking up my trash. Like, that's kind of a stupid thing. So I sit here saying I don't want a dirty truck to be seen in public. Does that actually affect any type of customer conversion? I doubt it. But because that's the way I feel, I spend, you know, an hour and a half to 2 hours cleaning this thing every single time we use it, which again, thankfully is just a week. But yeah, it's also a health thing. You know, you really don't want this kind of stuff festering and sitting. The other thing is that it makes greasing everything, your regular maintenance, it makes that much harder if you just let the dirt and grease sit and cake over time. So I could be 100% wrong, but I would guess the maintenance intervals on a truck that is dirty is less than perhaps what it should be. And again, that could be an ignorant statement, but that's just my assumption. Because if it is dirty, it shows me you're not cleaning off the grease zerks to get them. Which maybe they just go back there with a little rag and just clean that one grease zerk, and you know, they're all up on it. But so here's a shot of this inside. You can see how liquids will just seep in. I think somebody dumped some motor oil this week, so this is never a fun thing. It makes a huge mess everywhere. And you know, with the inside, you can get as detailed as you want. Wipe down the dash, you know, flip the seats and vacuum there. This is good enough. I want it to be an 80-20 thing. You know, I'll do the 20% of the work to make it 80% clean, and so that when we get in it, you know, the next week we say, oh, this seems kind of clean. The last thing we'll do for the inside is Febreze on the seat cushions. Kendall really never moves from her seat, so she doesn't have a opportunity to get any kind of, you know, nastiness on it. But because I'm in and out so much getting the trash, and you know, stuff splashes, and a lot of times I'll bring smells in with me. So this just kind of dousing it in Febreze. See, I might have covered it up, but this darker thing is some kind of I don't know where that came from. Something got on my shoulder one time, and then I came in and tracked it in. So sometimes stuff just gets on you, but that helps with the interior smell. Now, on the topic of cleaning the inside of that garbage truck, up until today, I have been using a cold water pressure washer. It's an Echo PW4200. It's done a great job, but hot water pressure washers, they've got an advantage over fats, oils, grease, that type of thing. So we have an Alcoda pressure washer that's rated at, I think, around 4,000 PSI, 4 gallon per minute. But that's what this big guy here is. And at least at first, we don't care about the heat for the outside. We're just going to use it as a cold water pressure washer to wash the outside with soap, like I told you. If we had just done that last week, maybe we would just use the cold water pressure washer and knock all the loose dirt off. We would just rinse it off, so that would take a lot less time. Once we get done with the outside, then we can look at actually cleaning the trash portion of this machine. I wish I could say I meant to do that, but I didn't. I woke up at 2:45 a.m. if that gives me any leeway in being an idiot right now. So if you don't know anything about hot water pressure washers, that's okay. This is a Honda engine that is mated to a high flow water pump on the other side. That's what your cold water pressure washer is most similar to, an engine and a pump. The hot part is this burner right here. So because there's that burner and the engine, you've got two different fuel sources. You need gasoline for the Honda. You really want to avoid spilling it if you can. And then down here is the fuel tank for the burner. This is kerosene or diesel. I think you can use home heating oil as well. I have no clue how long fuel lasts in this machine. We are going to record the hours today, and both tanks will be full, and I'll be able to see as time progresses how long it lasts me. All right, apparently I spilled the diesel as well. Great. We're gonna give that gas a chance to flash off, and I'm gonna clean up that diesel.
And while I'm sudsing the truck up, this is just your monthly reminder that if you run a home service business and you don't have some type of software helping you do it, I guess depending on the size, you may not need a software, but with as many different choices as there are, even free ones, I feel like you got to have something, and long term, it's only going to help your business. So Jobber is who has partnered with our channel to give us access to the software we need to run our business. If that's ever something you're interested in, there's also going to be a link, as always, when we talk about Jobber for a free trial and then a discount if you end up liking it. And if you've got any questions in the meantime about it after that trial is over, just shoot them to me in an email or a text message.
Yeah, it's probably been a month since I did this last. I just don't often need to wash it with soap and water. Now that is the drain for this hopper. The idea is if you're not using it, you don't want it filling up with rainwater and rusting, so you remove that plug when it's sitting in the yard or it's not in use. We're going to use that to wash the inside of the truck and capture probably 90% of the junk that's in there through that point. This is a dewatering bag. The idea is that whatever is in the water will get captured by this bag. They've got different kinds. Some capture fats, oils, grease, fuels. I think this is a kind of a run-of-the-mill one that is mainly for solids and sediments. But what you'll see, well, really you won't see because it's going in the bag, but all the stuff that's in here is going to end up in that bag as I'm rinsing everything out, because it's going to funnel through that drain. It keeps things as environmentally friendly as I can manage at this location, you know, without building like a dedicated wash pad or something. Which, hey, if there's any manufacturers who make wash pads and you want to do a completely impractical build at a residence for a one trash truck company and make a video on it, you know how to find me. That's our plug right there. All right, so now our plug is clean. We are gonna secure the dewatering bag. So now that dewatering bag isn't going to go anywhere as junk is funneling through it. So the slide is the flat part, and the packer is this blade here that, you know, does this guy. Between the slide and the trash truck body, there is like a very small section where stuff can get trapped in between, because it's two pieces of metal, so they don't contact. There's a little bit of a gap. So bringing that slide all the way down will let me shoot down into that gap and push all the crud down into the hopper. We're all also going to push the ejector plate all the way back. Now the last thing we're going to do before we use the hot water pressure washer or any water is manually pick out any trash we can with grabbers, because anything you can get out now with grabbers, with a shovel, with a broom, is going to be less stuff that gets wet and nasty. A lot of times paper will just get absolutely glued to stuff, so the pressure washer might be the only thing that does get that off. Here's some chunk of something, no clue what. Probably best not to think about it too long. Oh yeah, so you can see all that nasty stuff. There's a lot of it. We're gonna get a bigger trash can. And now that the slide is clean, we will go behind the ejector plate. That is what pushes all the trash out of the body. We're gonna clean up everything we can in here. One other thing that you'll need to do, I don't know why I said you'll need to do this. One other thing I need to do is clean underneath where the ejector blade sits. So again, there's no metal on metal contact on any of these things. So there's the tiniest gap all the way around everywhere except for those black shoes. That's what actually rides back and forth. That's where your friction is. This is a cylinder that pushes and pulls this plate. So the plate is floating more or less on these guides. There's one on this side too. It's just more difficult to see. But the bottom of that ejector blade or ejector plate is, you know, just a little fraction of an inch off of the bottom of the floor, or I guess I should say the top of the floor. Sometimes things can get caught there, and just because that bag is dry, if I tried to lift the tailgate with that dewatering bag wet, it would probably just rip it. So I'm just going to do it now because it'll be easier to show you. So you can see not only is there solid waste still on the blade, which you can clean up, there's also some stuck in between there. This is the point where, just to show good hygiene practices, I'll put on a mask and a face shield. Sometimes you have to push stuff over here to the edge so that you can get it loose. Pull it through. It's nice to get as much as you can, but you got to realize you're never going to get everything. So we've probably got most of what we're going to get from this side. Once the inside is clean some more, I can go and pick stuff out. The stuff that won't come out from here, I can either pressure wash it out and blast it, or I'll be able to get it unstuck from the back end. So just a few final notes on safety, because I don't know what you'll be able to see once I start filming. I've got sleeves, I've got this kind of neck gaiter, I've got ear protection, eye protection. On top of that, I'm going to be wearing a face shield and then also a mask as well, just a little respirator. When I use this, when you use any pressure washer, you kind of turn everything to mist. That hot pressure washer is going to do an even better job of that. So I don't want to aerosolize anything and breathe it in. I'm also going to be wearing these oil chemical resistant gloves. They've got a little bit of a heat protection factor to them as well, because this hot water pressure washer, at least the metal part, can get pretty toasty. The shrouded wand and the trigger, that doesn't really get hot, but just as a safety precaution, I'm going to have that going as well. And the other safety thing is that I'm the only one with the key, and it's in my pocket, so the truck won't start on its own and kill me when I crawl in that service area. The only person other than me on the property who has access to a key is my wife, and she knows not to come out and start the truck. But that's the other safety thing, that if you were doing this, you'd want to make sure you control access to the truck, to the hydraulics, so that nobody kills you while you are out of sight in that area doing your washing. That's raining so much quicker than the cold water. I can't see anything. I can't see what I'm doing because of the steam, but it is cleaning so good. It cleaned it so quick. So there is cleaning my mini garbage truck. It's not perfect. You can see there's some piece of cardboard that blew out of somewhere. There's another couple pieces, but the job is not to get it spotless, because obviously you'd be working all day. Just trying to get rid of 95% of everything that is going to breed flies and smells and all that kind of stuff. So pretty good overall, far from perfect, but perfect for what I'm looking for. Probably, again, will not be able to see, but the windshield is relatively cleaner. Oh my gosh, these things fell on my arm and scared me so bad. I thought it was a lizard jumping off of the... Oof. But yeah, here's what it looks like when it's all cleaned up. Definitely want to hit all your grease points again after this. That hot water can kind of melt the grease away. I mean, obviously that's an advantage, but if you're blasting your grease fittings, that's not going to be great. So just the important thing if you're doing this is just make sure it's environmentally friendly. Capture as much as you can, and anything that spills, you know, sweep up and dispose of in an appropriate manner. And moving forward, this Alcoa pressure washer is going to come in handy, because not only did it cut down the cleaning time, because it just melted all the inside when I was inside and like I was doing that sauna bath, it cleaned that out a lot quicker. But also it's safer because of how hot it gets the water. It actually disinfects stuff. The inside of that, I'm not going to say 100% because I'm sure I miss some stuff. But now the vast majority of the inside of that machine has been disinfected by virtue of extremely hot water. So that's another really good thing. But if that has led to any other questions, please feel free to leave them below and I'll try to answer them. As always, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.